Is it possible that the government and taxpayer-funded media are withholding information about excess deaths during a pandemic? Of course it's possible. It's definitely true, isn't it? Hello there, you awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me today. In an era when official narratives repeatedly collapse under the weight of suppressed evidence and shifting truths, how much trust can we really place in the institutions now asking us to accept their latest assurances? Let me know in the comments and chat.
Dr. Claire Craig, co-chair of the Heart Group, has been doggedly pursuing the UK Health Security Agency for their record-level data on dosage, dates and deaths for a year.
There's some real darlings there that I happen to know. There's a C. Malhotra sat there. That's it, actually. I just wanted to say, oh, look, there's a C. Malhotra. Just like when you see a photo of your school and go, know him, he's dead. Know him, drug overdose. Know him, he's dead.
This is the data that could sort out this issue once and for all.
Know him, government killed him. Know him, government accused him of Know him, government accused him of being a racist.
They admit they've got it. The MHRA admit that all this data has been released to Pfizer, AstraZeneca and Moderna.
I like Andrew Bridgen. He's so British, isn't he? They've got it down. Come on, look at. I mean, what is that massive paperclip that he's wearing on his suit? If he needed anything to make him more nerdy, that absolute darling hero of a man, willing to sacrifice himself for what he believed in. Definition of a hero.
Yet they claim they cannot anonymise it for public release to the public. A failure to release this data makes it look like there is definitely something to hide. A recent poll in the USA shows that more than half of the public think the vaccines are responsible for a significant number of deaths. If there was nothing to hide, they would certainly release this data for analysis, anonymised, to stop the upswell of legitimate concern. The latest response from the Information Commissioner's office is that Dr. Claire Craig's got to wait another 6 months at least before a case officer will be assigned to this issue. This is not acceptable, Sir Gary. They've released our health data to Big Pharma, but they won't release it to us. The record data, level data must be released. Is it really too much to ask that the British public be given the same level of access to the relevant data given to Big Pharma companies, those actually responsible for this debacle?
That data was a surprise for your birthday, and you ruined it. For much of modern history, moments of institutional failure have followed a familiar pattern. Early warnings dismissed, dissenters smeared, information withheld for the public good. And only years later does the truth emerge, usually in the form of grudging admissions or declassified documents. Today's controversies surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, the origins of the virus, and the suppression of vaccine-related data fit comfortably into this lineage. What is most striking, however, is how the same public institutions that once championed transparency now appear increasingly hostile towards scrutiny. The UK HSA's refusal to release anonymised vaccine mortality data is merely the latest example. Officials justified the secrecy by claiming that publishing it might distress bereaved families or fuel misinformation by revealing correlations the public was supposedly not capable of interpreting. Yet we're still protecting you. Like how we were protecting you during the pandemic, we're still protecting you, and we're protecting the bereaved families. How long can we keep up these claims that they're protecting us? How long can we enter into this faith-based relationship with these systems that demand our fealty in return for what? Corruption and an endless carousel of deception. It mirrors the logic used during the infected blood scandal, another instance of authorities insisting that hiding the truth was necessary to protect the public. All you have to do is for a moment just think, how do they react internally when this happens? Oh no, look, the data's available now. The vaccine caused excess deaths. If we admit that, then it's going to show that all the people that were suspicious, cynical, and almost on the point of revolution were correct, and it shows that we were lying. Yeah, we can't reveal that then. Well, how can we justify withholding this information? Can we still say that we're protecting them? I suppose we could. I mean, you couldn't blame them if they didn't believe us. Let's just keep the lie going. Just keep the racket going. These systems now are like Judy Garland, some propped up Hollywood star, held together by pills and injections. They're just trying to keep the show on the road. The gig is up. The game is over. This is it unfolding. They're just desperately trying to prop up more counterfeits, more lies, more deception as their ruse falls apart. Campaigners at Us For Them observed that this paternalistic mindset defined the COVID years. Do what we say, don't ask questions. We know what's best for you, which once again is the pose you're meant to adopt before God. He is the Father. He is the principal. Remember, in this sort of post-paper patriarchal age, people are like, we don't want to bow down before God. Well, you're bowing down before the state. You're bowing down before progressivism that can't even make its mind up about simple biological principles from one day to the next. Those who challenged this mindset faced professional and personal consequences. In the UK, Andrew Bridgen MP was suspended from the Conservative Party after raising concerns about vaccine harms, concerns dismissed at the time as misinformation, but which in the light of persistent excess mortality and growing calls for transparency now appear far more reasonable. Meanwhile, in the United States, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was branded an anti-vaxxer and treated as a conspiracy theorist by legacy media for questioning the official narrative about the origins of COVID, for discussing potential links between US intelligence agencies and Wuhan research, and for highlighting conflicts of interest within the public health bureaucracy. Yet, many of the issues he raised, especially around the plausibility of a lab leak, have since become mainstream and are now openly debated by intelligence agencies, Congress, and the scientific establishment.
Interfunction studies the kind of science that is designed to make microbes and pathogens more virulent, more transmissible, and more deadly. It was in this country, they started doing it in 1947, the military and the intelligence agencies, in order to develop bioweapons. In 1969, President Nixon banned it all, shut down Fort Detrick, shut down all the labs, and then signed the Bioweapons Convention. That ban lasted till 2001. And after the anthrax attacks, Anthony Fauci essentially restarted the arms race and the bioweapons arms race, and did it under the pretension of developing vaccines because of the same science that you develop bioweapons and vaccines. In 2014, 3 of his bugs escaped, and 300 scientists wrote letters to President Obama asking him to shut down Anthony Fauci. President Obama declared a moratorium, but instead of shutting down his experiments, he moved them offshore, mainly to the Wuhan lab.
And then Wuhan was never heard of again. History is full of examples showing why dissenting voices are not a threat to democracy. They are necessary for it. During the Watergate scandal, institutions tried to hide politically damaging information, but investigative journalists, remember them, pursued the truth relentlessly. The mainstream press acted as a counterweight to government power.
I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
By contrast, during the pandemic, those same institutions largely became amplifiers of government messaging, generously funded by pharmaceutical advertising and public health sponsorships. Figures like Anthony Fauci were treated as unimpeachable authorities. I am the science. You am in a lot of trouble, you little f***ing liar. Despite shifting positions and documented conflicts of interest. Rather than questioning power, the press helped shield it. Why is that? The parallels grow darker when viewed through the lens of covert biological and psychological operations. The CIA's MKUltra program, once derided as a fringe conspiracy theory, was ultimately exposed as a decades-long illegal experiment involving drugging and manipulating unwitting subjects. Chernobyl, similarly, demonstrated how governments will suppress alarming evidence to maintain political stability, even at the cost of public safety. And the 2001 anthrax attacks, first blamed on foreign terrorists, but eventually traced to a US biodefense researcher, revealed just how easily a government insider can become the source of a biological threat.
Good evening. This is Friday, August 1st, 95 days until the 2008 presidential election. To that topic presently.
I don't think newscasters would even use the word presently anymore. There's a deterioration in the quality of language in broadcast. Except for me. I'm polysyllabic till the end.
The questions about the anthrax attacks, which terrified this nation late in 2001, would seem tonight to have boiled down to 3. First, was the anthrax sent by just one employee of our own government or more than one employee of our own government? Second, when the FBI missed an easy clue, the unreported spilling of anthrax in the federal repository of anthrax.
Why is there a federal repository of anthrax? Why are they doing gain-of-function research? Why are they doing all these things that are so diabolical and demonic, unless, of course, all these institutions have been somehow captured by evil? How long can we ignore that the dollar bill's got a pyramid with an eye on it? How long can we ignore the weird sigils of dark power that seem to adorn all of their citadels of darkness? Why would you need a Federal Reserve of anthrax? May I ask, where do you expect us to get our anthrax from, and where do you expect our rogue employees to get a bit of anthrax to go on a rampage, if not from our most treasured Federal Anthrax Reserve? one of our proudest traditions.
That the suspect did not report, was it incompetence or a cover-up? And third, how, if there was evidence of something askew at our biological warfare lab in Maryland as early as December 2001?
This is like another era. They said, like, even, are we in a period of mass degeneration? Because even this guy, he's on MSNBC, so it can't be that long ago. He seems like a sort of a thoroughly decent, upstanding man. Now when I see people on the news, they're like, "Hello, here is the news. You're a racist. You." Like, look at him. He's like in a pinstripe suit. He's trying his best. When did things start falling apart so radically?
Why did national news organizations in this country receive supposedly reliable leaks from the Bush administration that the anthrax had originated in Iraq? Our fifth story in the countdown, there is finally a suspect in the anthrax attacks. He worked for the government's anthrax lab.
Stop saying anthrax.
And unfortunately, he's dead as of this past Tuesday.
Keith Olbermann, he's a much beloved broadcaster. He used to cover sports in the early days and made his way all the way to the top. Then probably because of, I don't know, integrity, he had to be beheaded. Lord alone knows where he is now. I'm going to guess somewhere in an anthrax lab.
His name was Dr. Bruce E. Ivins. The Los Angeles Times reporting this morning, NBC News confirming tonight.
What happened to Bruce E. Ivins? Good game, good game. That's for the British.
That the Justice Department was preparing to file criminal charges against him for the 2001 anthrax attacks. Dr. Ivins dying Tuesday at Frederick Memorial Hospital in Maryland, reportedly after taking a massive dose of prescription Tylenol with codeine.
Come on, mate, at least take anthrax.
His lawyer today asserting his client's innocence in a statement, quote, "For 6 years, Dr. Ivins fully cooperated with the investigation, assisting the government in every way that was asked of him. We assert his innocence in these killings and would have established that at trial. The relentless pressure of accusation and innuendo takes its toll in different ways on different people."
No, it's fine. You can take it. You can take the innuendo. You can take the attacks. You can take the fake accusations. You can handle it. Toughen up! Do you want to support me? No, I don't. Yes, you do. Support me and support Rumble Premium. You won't only be supporting me, you'll get additional access to Mug Club, that's Crowder's gig, Timcast, that's Tim Paul's racket, and Glenn Greenwald's additional content. Join us on Rumble Premium. We make content every single week through Rumble because Rumble support free speech. When I was under attack from the British government and the British media, Rumble stood firm. Yes, of course, there's crazy people on Rumble. There's crazy people everywhere. There's a crazy person living under this hat. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have the right to speak freely together. By supporting Rumble Premium, you're supporting me and content creators like me. You get additional content, and what I will say even more, drink down deep on the delicious irony in this one, you get an ad-free experience. If you want an ad-free experience of Rumble, get Rumble Premium. In the meantime, stay free. Recent disclosures about the Office of the Director of National Intelligence add yet another layer to this pattern. Documents show that the ODNI worked closely with coronavirus engineer Ralph Barrick, including facilitating meetings with the CIA, while later suppressing intelligence pointing to a research-related origin of COVID. In early 2020, Barrick even warned US intelligence agencies that a lab leak was plausible given the Wuhan Institute of Virology's low biosafety standards. Despite this, ODNI officials dismissed lab origin intelligence as, you guessed it, misinformation, omitted genomic analysis from public reports, and resisted declassification efforts until public pressure forced a shift years later. Figures like RFK Jr., Andrew Bridgen, and independent researchers who raised these contradictions early on were treated not as whistleblowers, but as heretics. Yet if history teaches us anything from Watergate to MKUltra, from Chernobyl to the anthrax case, it's that institutions often attack those who expose uncomfortable truths long before they admit those truths themselves. And indeed, in today's environment, it's not just the researchers that reveal the information, it's the people that publish them. Note that Edward Snowden is exiled, Chelsea Manning is jailed, Julian Assange is held without trial. Two of those people were whistleblowers. Julian Assange is essentially a journalist reporting on the information. So bear that in mind, just in case there are any other people in independent media space that were reporting on these topics at the time that have subsequently, for example, been accused of heinous sex crimes. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but I know they must exist. This matters profoundly today because society is being asked to embrace new global frameworks, from pandemic preparedness treaties to carbon-scored food labels, on the premise that institutions are trustworthy, competent, and transparent. But recent history repeatedly shows the opposite. Transparency is granted only when politically convenient and withheld when elites fear the public might draw conclusions that they cannot manage. manage. It was not governments or legacy media who warned the public about the WHO treaty or early excess deaths or intelligence links to Wuhan. It was online journalists, independent researchers, and so-called conspiracy theorists. Had we remained silent, most of what we now know would still be hidden. This is why raising concerns early, whether about data secrecy or carbon-tracked consumer surveillance, is crucial. Public debate is not dangerous, silence is. And once the truth finally emerges from behind layers of institutional denial, it is always too late to undo the consequences. Here, Andrew Bridgen, who I mentioned earlier, friend of the show, friend in general, says, health chiefs accused of a cover-up after failing to reveal data that may link COVID jabs to excess deaths. I asked in the House of Commons for the record-level data of doses, dates and deaths to be released in 2023. They refused. What are they hiding? I think we know. Do you notice a lot of times online, and I guess I do it as well, people are like, I told you this. I told you this already. I told you this. Why didn't you listen to me? Of course, the courts and the UK HSA are involved in a cover-up of post-vaccination death data. This is the record-level data we've been asking to be released for over 3 years. The only reason it's not being released is because it's damning and will confirm the link between excess deaths and the COVID-19 vaccines. This release would result in a lot of very powerful people facing the consequences of their actions and inactions. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat about that post.
The CIA's secret mind control experiments are back in the spotlight. Newly released documents reveal details about MK Ultra.
Sidney Gottlieb, why is he cropping up? Signs of a project that would evaluate the effects of large doses of LSD. I wonder if he's related to that Gottlieb that ran the FDA till pretty recently. Volunteers and federal prisons. I mean, it's so extraordinary. How many times have you encountered mentally ill people that say things like, there's a machine following me, and you think, come on, you nutcase. Then you read this and you realise, oh no, they're probably, what they've got is some acid flashback of an MRI they were forced to undertake under observation during an MK Ultra experiment. And that's why when someone like Candace Owens openly talks about not trusting the official narrative around the murder of Charlie Kirk and the potential that the alleged killer is working in cahoots or coordination with other forces, you can't just go, don't be ridiculous, because look!
A 1950s program using LSD and hypnosis to study behavior control.
We got a great MK Ultra watch along. Check out the link in the description. It's pretty good, actually. And I seem to remember there's a bit too much saxophone music, but other than that, it's pretty good.
Pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly reportedly supplied large amounts of LSD for that project.
These are actual companies, Eli Lilly, that you might get baby formula and stuff from. They're providing LSD for MK Ultra experiments.
Some tests were done on unsuspecting Americans, including prison inmates.
If you didn't want MK Ultra experimentations on your consciousness using powerful hallucinogens, then you should learn to pay your parking fines on time. But what is time? I'm not answering that question.
National Security Archive, marking 50 years since the program's exposure, compared the research.
Next time someone accuses you of being a conspiracy theorist, you might point them in the direction of this video and the evidence within it that the government, Big Pharma, and the military cooperated to exploit mentally ill people and prisoners with LSD without their consent. That's basically all of the components of the worst conspiracy theory imaginable. Not imaginable, and probably not the worst one that's happened. But what it demonstrates is that everyone, big businesses, the government, vulnerable people, are involved in factual, demonstrable, empirically true conspiracy theories. MK Ultra, still when I say I think that probably didn't happen, well, it fucking did.
To Nazi experiments and criticize the lack of accountability.
Well, could we have a bit more accountability? I mean, at least Dr. Mengele, when he sewed a dick onto a twin's forehead, would, often take them out afterwards for maybe a drink and a dance. And a giddy time in Berlin's burlesque nightlife. Life is a cabaret, old chum. So there you go. Conspiracies are real. Conspiracies are true. We were lied to during the pandemic period. Many people were talking about that at the time. You knew at the time it was a lie. So when will we get the information that's warranted? Probably when that information's not so supercharged that it will bring down the institutions of power that continue to exploit us in myriad ways. Whether it's the Epstein files or the revelations of the pandemic, we are in a new era of power. And I don't think that the current institutions have the integrity or authority to withstand it. This is something glorious and extraordinary. It's moving at a pace that I can't keep up with. I don't know about you when you watch the online spaces, the sort of extraordinary speed with which these stories are spinning out of control. But there is one place where you can find alpha, omega, before time, outside of time, beyond time, comfort, through the cross, through the vertical plane and horizontal plane. Truth and purity is there. It doesn't mean an end to suffering, but it does mean an end to constant deception of yourself and the constant deception and counterfeits of the world. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Remember, we stream at these times on these days. And you can additionally support me by entering this draw to win this fantastic Jeep. Look at that thing go. Just look at the size of those tires. Every dollar you spend gets you 25 entries to win this beautiful vehicle. To find out more, click the link in the description. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Wednesday and Friday on Rumble.